Now we're going to add images to our repeater. We could simply add an image as we do normally by double clicking the image widget and choosing the file. But that would mean the same image would be repeated for all our items. Instead, we want to set the image dynamically from values our dataset holds. Down here in the Dataset tab, we have an image column we set up earlier, which I was conscientiously ignoring. We're going to set the image references in here. If we right-click the cell, we will get a context menu where we will find an option, Import Image, and we get a similar file selection dialog to what we just saw. We're going to select an image, bluebook.jpg. You can find these images in your code pack. OK. We'll do the same for the other items. This time with a red book. OK. Third item. This time with a green. Fourth item. We'll reuse the blue again. Okay, so we've put some image references into each of our repeater items. Next, we'll need to add some actions in the Repeater Interactions tab to tell the repeater to use these image references for our image widget here, which we've called Image. To the Repeater Interactions tab. Let's double click the onItemLoad case to open the case editor. Add the set image action. We'll find our image widget nested under media list repeater. We have a number of options for setting different images based on interactions, mouse over, mouse down, and so on. But we don't have time to get into that now, but you may wish to explore yourself. We're going to set the default image, i.e. the image showing with no interaction from the user. We can do a standard import of an image again, but this would be repeated, resulting in the same image across all our items. Instead, we want to use the values we set in our data set. So we're going to change this drop down from image to value. And we're presented with the now familiar text input with the function button. We're going to click this to open the Edit Value dialog. From the Insert function options, we want to look under the Repeater section to find our image column name. Here it is, item.img. So what's happening here is every time the onItemLoad case is run for each item, it's loading this value from the dataset. Let's preview this with F5. OK, looks good across 3 views. OK, we should talk a little about the sizing of the images before we move on. It's no happy accident that things look fine. Let's import one of the images into the image widget so we can see how it looks in the repeater canvas. OK, I'm not going to auto-size the image. I want the image to take on the dimensions I specified for the image widgets across the views. And you can see that the image widgets retain the size and shape that I set up in the widget library earlier. Earlier in my image editing program, I made sure I prepared square image files that were large enough for my requirements of 150 pixels by 150 pixels for the large view. I also ensured that the image widgets that would hold the image were square, so the image wouldn't be distorted in the prototype. So you can resize images in Axure across the views, and they should look fine as long as you ensure 1. They are large enough. Only reduce images in size in Axure, never scale up. Same applies for on the web. 2. They are the same shape or aspect ratio, as the technical term is, and you don't change the shape of the image widget in Axure. You may wish for the dimensions of your images to be fixed or respond to the size of the device viewport. Depending on what you require, I'd suggest annotating the widgets to provide guidance to developers. For example, you may create a drop-down where you can pick from the two, fixed or responsive. We might call this field sizing, for example. Now we can specify how the widgets respond to viewport changes. If we want the image size to remain fixed, we can specify that here, or if we want it responsive, we can specify that too. Okay, so what we've done is created a responsive media listing widget in our widget library and deployed in our book project with limited customization. This pattern can be deployed in many different contexts with just a little customization. It could, for example, be customized for listing articles as well as products. I think it's important when you are designing for the optimal user experience that you don't deviate from common patterns that users recognize, and by working in this way we have happy users and also a streamlined design process. I think we have time to learn a filter interaction for the repeater widget. That will get you well on your way to creating more advanced interactions with repeaters. That's in the next video.